Hi everyone. So today I'm speaking with Danny from Cinesite. Thanks for joining me. Could you briefly introduce your role in studio, please?
Hi, yeah. So I'm Danny Smith. I'm Cinesite's Group Head of Infrastructure Technology. So I oversee the lower levels of the tech stack across our group of studios across multiple countries and geographies.
Thanks, Danny. Linux has been the backbone of VFX for decades now. Why is it the preferred OS for studios like Cinesite?
Well, I mean, I've been with Cinesite for a long time now, nearly 30 years since I first joined. Back in the day, Silicon Graphics and the IRIX system was the go-to platform for visual effects because
Okay.
nothing else was really up to the job. Since Linux came along, it's totally taken that crown, and obviously Silicon Graphics has unfortunately fallen by the wayside. Um, uh, Really, that's really where the history comes from, I think, is just that those high-end graphics systems were just not capable on other platforms. Nowadays, Linux is more than a worthy successor to those systems.
Thanks. Um, a lot of studios were running CentOS for years. I'm pretty sure Cinesite were on that too. But when CentOS 7 was discontinued, how did you decide to go the AlmaLinux route?
Well, we spent a long time thinking about where we wanted to go. Obviously, there are multiple choices out there. You know, it's one of the joys of Linux is that there are many different distributions that you can use. I was also involved in the VFX platform discussions around future operating systems. And during the course of those discussions, we examined a lot of the options that are out there. Obviously, for us, sticking with something which is very similar to the CentOS systems, sticking with the Red Hat style package management, it made sense to go for one of the derivatives of Red Hat 9. And so for us, really, it was a choice between Alma and Rocky. And really, for us, Alma won out at the end of the day. Faster turnaround in terms of packages and just a friendlier model altogether. But that said, I think there's room for all of the systems out there. But for us, Alma was the clear winner.
All right, thanks. Speaking of migration, how was the switch from CentOS to AlmaLinux in production?
It's always slow upgrading operating systems. I'm sure everybody's been through migrations of one sort or another. It takes time, it takes planning, and we took the time and we took the planning, and it's still taken longer than we would have hoped. But that's an us thing, not there's nothing wrong with the platform. It's a case of dragging people kicking and screaming into the future sometimes. But relatively painless, I think, compared to some of the other OS upgrades that we've done in the past. No major issues to report, I don't think. The usual teething troubles, slightly different packages, but people are getting used to it and liking it. So that's, it's good.
Good to hear. Now, looking forward, you mentioned version 9. Is it the plan to upgrade to version 9 eventually, or are you still on 8? What's the plan
We
there?
went straight from 7 to 10. We decided
Oh, wow. Okay.
we skipped the 8. We thought there was really no point going on to a platform that's going to be end of life sooner rather than later. And we, like a lot of VFX studios, we're quite slow at getting our upgrades into gear. There's a lot of moving parts to organize. So we figured the sooner we get to V9, then the less pain we're going to experience longer term. So yeah, V9 is where it's at the moment. When we get around to the next release, when we come up to V10, I'm hoping things will actually be even smoother. It should be less of I think, a wrench for people from going from one platform to another. But it kind of depends what V10 eventually entails. So yeah.
Um, and what's your advice for VFX or post-production studios considering a Linux transition or moving off CentOS? What would be, your advice on this?
So I think, planning is one of the key things, and making sure that you're doing suitable testing with whatever your workflows are. For us, it's been relatively straightforward in terms of most of our applications. Everyone's using different digital content creation tools. So testing those packages against an Alma setup it is going to be key. I think for us as well, it was slightly complicated by the fact that we enforced a change in desktop, and we are pushing people over to the GNOME environment to be able to keep everything nicely supported. That isn't something that you have to do with Alma. There are many options still in terms of desktop management platforms out there, but I would make sure that you get it in front of end users as soon as you can in the upgrade cycle. Get people testing it, get people to give feedback. And the joy of Linux is that if somebody doesn't like something, it's almost always customizable one way or another. But that takes time and some effort and care.
Hey, thanks, Danny. That's all the time we have, but thank you very much for joining us and doing this with us.
No problem at all. Great to talk to you.